Well, I forgot to mute the feed from the live stream, but we're live now apparently. So,
Oh, hello, everyone.
as always, it's me, Jay Brown, here with Tom for the Serious Football Heads podcast, and today we are live for Week One. Start of the NFL football season with the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers.
Long time coming.
It has been a long wait. I will admit that. I unfortunately did not have time to set up the stream properly, so you won't see your chat scrolling by, but I do have a chat window open and available, so I will read comments as they come through. So, biggest news of the week so far is that Zeke is back.
Yeah, so I heard.
I was hoping to get Brandon in here, but unfortunately my phone was crapping out and having issues. So I'm going to try and record something with him later tonight, or I may do a separate live stream with him.
Oh,
Um,
great.
if you're available, Tom, I'll shoot you the link, and if you're not available, no worries. Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
So, what do you want to talk about today so far? I mean, obviously Zeke.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting the comparison between what Zeke has done, what Jadeveon Clowney has managed to do, and how Trent Williams and Melvin Gordon are still out in the cold. Um, Zeke got exactly what he wanted, and he leveraged himself into that position. I think it only happened because it was Jerry Jones and the Cowboys. I don't see anybody else in the league doing what he's done.
Oh yeah.
Talking about Jerry Jones, and he played it to perfection. I mean, he said, "I want to be the highest paid running back in the league, and I'm not coming back until I am." And everyone said, "No, no, 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 we're not going to do that." And yet there it was. And he played his cards close. He did exactly what he was supposed to do, stuck to his guns. And they came back, three different times? They gave a contract offer to him that put him in the top five. Then they came back with an offer that put him number two. And then they finally came back with an offer that put him at number one. And then he's back in camp.
Yep.
I anticipate that he'll have 3 plays and a pulled hamstring, but that seems to be the way it always works. And then for Clowney, they really didn't have a choice there. You can't pay him more than you pay J.J. Watt.
Yeah.
And for him to, just again stick to his guns, they were able to pull a trade, and Houston and Miami just as soon as training camp was over, after the last preseason game, went crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, Miami fire sailed, I don't know how many guys out of there.
A couple of
And
them
then
to the
to
Texans.
Houston, yeah. And then Houston pulls off the other trade and sends Clowney to Seattle for a couple of guys. And they've
Which is a
stockpiled
steal.
some picks. Yeah. So, that worked out well for them. But it just is, it's just strange to me that suddenly they're going into the season now with so many new people and expect to have everything gel right away.
Oh yeah.
And it's not going to do that.
Yeah.
So, but Williams he just hates the Redskins and isn't coming back.
Oh yeah.
That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah.
And they're going to need to do something there. And Gordon is just getting the most awful advice, as far as I can see. There was a segment on NFL Network yesterday where they just roasted those 2 sports agents, and now he's stuck. He has no choice but to either stay out until week 10, pay the fine, forfeit the salary. He'll come back. He'll be play the last 6 games for like $1 million and lose $4 million, and or sign a new deal. And Telesco said, "I'm not negotiating anymore." So whether that means here's the deal that's on the table, take it or leave it. Like, if you want to sign this now, we'll sign it, but we're not negotiating anymore. Or if it just means we're done, you're playing under this contract, so come back if you want to. I don't know what, at the end of the day, what he's going to do.
Yeah.
He's not an unreasonable guy, so I wouldn't be surprised if he did say, okay, if you want that contract, we'll still offer you that. Which would solve that problem. So we'll see what happens. But I got a feeling that he's not going to be around. and the Chargers are just moving forward. And it's, like I said last week, I would just like once to go into a season with our full team, and we're missing Derwin James because of the injury this year. We're missing Gordon because he's, just not coming in. And I think you're just overvaluing the marketplace to the point where it's going to cost him millions of dollars.
Yeah, and that is the hard thing about following the NFL in any capacity and wanting to root not just for teams but for players is you want the players to do good and get, when I say get paid for what they're worth, I mean like getting paid for producing on the field, If they're continually producing at a high mark, then they should be getting paid accordingly. But
Mm-hmm.
but when you're slacking off and holding out in training camp and other things, and you get rewarded for doing that, that just sets the precedent for all the other younger players to say, "Well, he held out, so I'm going to hold out."
Yeah, yeah.
And it's
Pat's big on this too, and I agree with him. If those fines are there, you gotta enforce that.
yeah,
And whatever happens, and I'm sure they didn't do it in Dallas. And if they did, it's $1 million out of 103 that he's just signed.
yeah,
I just don't. I just think that you need to, that should be league wide mandated. I think. I don't think the club should have any choice in this. If you miss training camps, you miss practices, and you get fined, and it comes at a league level rather than a club level.
yeah. It does. I was trying to look at the latest power rankings. I don't hold much weight to the power rankings, but I do find them like an interesting read. And they had a weird article yesterday on NFL.com and on the NFL app, and I was trying to pull it up and I can't find it now because the app closed on me. Stupid thing. But here's how they have the order: the Patriots at 1, Rams at 2, Saints 3, all holding the same position that they held last time they did the power
Right.
rankings. Chiefs at 4, holding the same rank. Philly is the first move, which is up from 6 to 5. Bears move up from 7 to 6. Cowboys up from 8 to 7. Steelers up from 9 to 8. Seahawks from 10 to 9. Chargers from 11 to 10.
And that's because the Colts went from 9 to 19.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
That's exactly what it was. The Colts were like at 7, 8, 9 someplace there a week ago, and now they're down
5.
to 19.
They were 5.
So
yeah, they went from 5 to 19. Tennessee was at 19 down to 1, and then it looks like everybody else pretty much stayed the same.
well, and being here in Vegas, I put a little bet down on the Chargers to win their opening game, and I heard the rumor that Andrew Luck might not play week 1, and the Chargers were at -3, and I went, you know what? What am I waiting for? Put the bet down now. If he doesn't play, that number's going to change. Sure enough, it's at -7.5 now. So
Yeah.
they went from 9 to 1 to win the Super Bowl to 30 to 1 to win the Super Bowl, and yeah, it hit them hard. And but I'm hoping that the Chargers aren't overlooking this now, saying, "Oh, well, this is a much easier game," because they still have a good defense in Indy, and they've still got some other skilled players. And Brissett's going to get better as he keeps playing more. So, and he just got a big contract extension. I mean, they gave him $20 million guaranteed in in his contract, and that says a lot about how they feel about him, and should be instilling a tremendous amount of confidence in him. So, he had a funny quote though. He negotiated this deal himself without an agent.
Yeah.
And they asked why. He said, "Well, I don't need someone going in there BSing for me. I can do that myself." So he went in and did it.
Yeah. This is it's interesting looking at some of these waivers and whatnot that came out after and practice squad signings. Because I did a fantasy football draft on Tuesday night.
Uh-huh.
And I think I did all right. I mean, I went with, and I'm gonna share this with everybody. And give me a minute, I'll get it over to you. My team name is Game Over Dude because I never bothered to change it from the year I got married. So I took DeAndre Hopkins, Tyreek Hill, Todd Gurley, Russell Wilson, and Sonny Mitchell for my first 5 picks.
Okay.
I go through, I pick up some other players, Jared Cook, Landry, Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa at 10. I get down to pick 16, and who's sitting there still? Tom Brady. How can I not pass him up for a backup quarterback on there?
There you go.
Yeah, I need to pin you. I keep forgetting that. Let's pin you over here. People are just seeing it. Hey, you're sharing your screen. And I totally forget that I have to do that. But I couldn't help but take a flyer on Jadeveon Clowney, Ezekiel Ansah, and But I look at my best friend who's had the last pick of the first round, so he had it's a snake draft, so he gets picks 10, 11, all the way down the board. He picks up Le'Veon Bell, Adam Thielen, Zach Ertz, Aaron Rodgers. You know, this guy is just he's going to dominate the league, I think, this year.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody took a flyer on Kyler Murray at 17.
Where did Elliot go?
Elliot, let's see here.
Because this was last Tuesday, right?
Yeah, this was this Tuesday before.
Yeah, before he signed. So I was wondering.
Let's see here. I think one of the people got a computer pick on him. That's why.
Yeah, because I was at I do another podcast on Fridays from a local place here in town, and there was also a bunch of guys at the same time doing a fantasy draft. And I had just been to Charger camp the day before, and I was wearing some kind of Charger stuff, of course, and got to talking to these guys. And then middle of draft, one of the guys runs over and he says, "So what about Gordon? What about Gordon?" I went, "Walk away, walk away."
Ezekiel Elliott was taken in the second pick overall.
Oh well, somebody had faith.
It was a computer pick. Like I said, but it's interesting to see how the media reacted to it, how fans reacted to the news, because all of a sudden it's like everybody in fantasy leagues were trying to say, "Oh yeah, I knew he's going to be back," that we're drafting him, but then there you got the other people that are like, "Well, I just took a flyer on him because he's eventually going to come back, but is he going to be as good?" So it's like, just sitting there watching them. Let's see, they got their fantasy NFL.com's got their fantasy picks, start him, sit him, week 1, tight ends, etc.
Oh yeah, I was reading through that yesterday as it was flashing across the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, I need to figure out.
The thing is, I don't play fantasy football. I have never played fantasy football. If I can't get almost my Charger players, I don't want to play, and I'm stressed out enough during the course of of a game week that I just don't focus on it, and so consequently, I really don't understand how it all works. But I do pay attention to this stuff. They always start them, sit them, et cetera, and whenever Charger comes in and start them, I'm like, yeah, that's right. All right, good.
And when it's sit them, you're like, what are you talking about?
Well, are you kidding me? He's gonna have a great game.
Yeah, it would be nice if I could. I wonder if there's a way I could set this up where I could have a little screen on the live streams or whatever, where I can just crop out the ticker from like NFL Network. I probably could. I just got to figure it out.
You just need picture in picture.
Yeah, it's finding the right picture in picture, So,
all right. So,
picks.
So we got.
Do you want?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you want to do the picks, or did you have something else in mind?
No, we can do picks.
All right.
I happen to have mine right here.
Give me just a second here. I'm gonna pull up a notepad. Gonna mark this for posterity.
Yep, I did. I think I said this last week. I am participating in the evils of gambling this season, at least to start the season. And there is when you sign up, apparently through Stations Casinos here in Vegas, which owns 8 or 10 casinos around town, there's a game that you can play, and you can go in and make your picks for the week. And if you're in the top 20 people, you split $25,000.
That's cool.
Okay. So if you went 16-0 and you were the only one that was 16-0, you win the whole thing. If there's 15 people that tie at 15-1 or 14-2, they split the 25. So, you know,
Yeah.
it works that way. But it's free. And I was like, really? Okay. So I'll be going in every week and plugging into the kiosk and making my picks. So, and then I also took a 5-team parlay, and I'm having doubts about that now because, you know, I'm picking winners, but they also have the point spread attached to those, and I'm not very good at picking point spreads.
Yeah, point spreads is a harder.
Yeah, so we'll see. And as I was thinking it through yesterday, I'm thinking, you know, I should have looked at the lower point spreads and played those teams instead of just winners. But we'll see. Maybe next week, you know, I'll be wearing a new cashmere coat or something. Who knows?
So, all right.
Or the same old polo shirt. Who sees. All right, so we got the game tonight. What are you thinking?
Well, for tonight, I'm going to go with the Packers just simply because of their they have a more cohesive team than the Bears do. The Bears, don't get me wrong, the Bears will do good this year. I can't trust their special teams and their kicking. And that is going to be the key part to this game, I think.
Well, we're starting off right out of the gate with a difference because I'm taking the Bears. I think the Bears had such a strong season last year that they're going to continue that momentum coming out. I look at the Packers, they've got a rookie head coach. Aaron Rodgers is back, and he has a significantly weighted record against the Bears, like 16-5 or something like that. But at the same time, I just think that there's so many changes on the Packers defense, the rookie head coach going into Soldier Field, and the coherency of the Bears and the momentum the Bears have coming in. To me, that's going to be the deciding factor. Yeah. And if they go for 2 every time, then they go for 2 every time. So yeah. I don't see it being a one field goal game. I think the Bears are going to be more dominant than that.
I see it as a touchdown game. Is where I see it. So, all right. So Rams in Carolina.
I'm taking the Rams.
Yeah, we're going to agree on that one.
They're a pretty good football team that is has had very little turnover. They've had some on the defensive side. They've still got their offense is intact. I think Carolina, I have no faith in Cam Newton at all. To me, when he lost that Super Bowl 3 or 4 years ago, however long that was, he was broken, and he has not been the same player since. Yeah. And he's coming off the injury, and I just don't see him being able to play well enough to beat the Rams, regardless of the fact that it's in Carolina.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people are going to say that, you know, it's a West Coast team going for a 1:00 game on the East Coast, literally almost as far as you can travel, you know. But the Rams have been playing so well the last couple of years that it's hard to pick against them in a game where the offense of the opposing team is fractured because the quarterback of the other team just can't keep his head in the game, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sound like I'm disparaging on Cam at all, because I really think that if he could just get through this, he could be getting the Carolina Panthers back there every year, if not to the Super Bowl, at least to the NFC Championship game, repeatedly.
Yeah.
And
these injuries are stacking up with him. Yep. You know, and everyone's like, "Oh no, he's fine." But until he's, you know, drops back and needs to move out of the pocket, whether he decides to throw the ball away or run and get hit again, you know, his instinct is really strong that way. And I just, like I said, I have no faith in him. So So then we got the Redskins and the Eagles.
Yeah, the Redskins and the Eagles. Let's see here. I'm gonna have to go
In
with Philly.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Philly. It's just
Yeah,
it's a home game for them.
it's a home game for the
It's
Philly, and
rivals.
I actually expect them to win the division again. Um, it's definitely coming down between them and the Cowboys, and the Redskins are in total disarray, um, and have been, for the last couple of years. They've got such a good defense and such a strong defensive line. I think all four starters on the defensive line are number one picks, and they're good players,
Yeah.
and yet they can't seem to get anything done. Now, granted, last year they were leading the division until Alex Smith got hurt, and that's going to be a big difference. And if Case Keenum can maintain that same level of play that he had in Minnesota, this will be a whole different story. But we're going to have to wait and see if that happens. Trent Williams not being there, of course, is going to be a big detriment to them. And the Eagles, as I said, they're 2 years removed from the Super Bowl, and have not had any kind of real decline.
Yeah.
So, in my mind anyway. So I think the Eagles is the only way to go.
What about Tennessee at Cleveland?
Tennessee at Cleveland. Let me get a coin. I looked at that pick, and I picked the Browns. And I looked at the pick, and I just kind of shook my head a little bit and went, I'm not necessarily buying into the hype. I saw the very first preseason game they played in the very first drive, and Baker Mayfield came out and moved that team down the field like boom, 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 boom. And I thought, oh my goodness, they actually have something here.
Yeah.
And I saw him do it a couple other times through the preseason, but you never really see the whole team play. And Odell Beckham didn't play during the preseason at all, and so you're going to get your first team out there on Sunday, and I think they have a lot of talent there. And again with the Titans, I make my picks based on quarterback play, coaching, and then finally home field advantage. And I think that Baker Mayfield is going to outplay Marcus Mariota. And he's another one of these guys. There's 3 or 4 of them in the league, and you'll hear me say it as we go through this, that I just don't have any faith in, and Mariota's one of them.
Yep. It is one of those ones that I'm picking the Browns too. I think it's more just because it's a home game for the Browns. While I don't believe in the hype, but while I think they are doing better, I don't think they're going to be where some of the things I've seen them be at, like winning the AFC North.
Yeah, that I don't know, but
I saw ESPN's. We simulated all the games for the season, and this is how the teams stack up, and it was shared by Brandon the Commish on Twitter.
Oh, I saw that. I didn't look at it, but I saw that it was there.
They have the Lions going 4-12. They have the Seahawks going 6-10. With us losing
6-10.
Yes, with us losing to Cincinnati in Seattle.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that game here in a second. But yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah, I remember correctly, I think they had Cleveland winning the division, or at least winning a wild card.
I can see that.
I could see them winning the wild card, but not the division. I have to.
Well, you got Cincinnati with again, rookie head coach, tremendous turnover on the team. You got Baltimore, bunch of turnover on that team as well, particularly on the defensive side. I don't have any faith in Baltimore. I think they go 6-10 myself. So there's half the division right there that they should be able to beat, and that comes down between them and the Steelers. And they tied this last year. They tied the Steelers opening day. And came very close to a wild card position. So if they get better from last season, and in my opinion, they will, they could win the division. Doing it's going to be another whole story, but they could do it. All right, who's next?
All right, Well, I'm just showing everybody the final results from the simulation here. And yep, I was right. They did have Cleveland winning 10-6, and the Steelers were clinching the wild card spot. So it's not out of the realm of possibility, like you're saying, but I just don't see it happening. All right, so up next, let's see here. We have, let's see, Kansas City and Jacksonville.
How do you pick against Kansas City? They're just such a good team all the way around. Mahomes is the next great thing and the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they're going to Jacksonville. There'll be probably a little bit of weather issue there.
Just a wee bit.
I'm not sure about, yeah, depending on where this storm goes, who knows? I saw a thing the other day that said waiting on a hurricane is like being stalked by a turtle.
Pretty much.
So I know I'm definitely taking Kansas City in that game, and but I do expect Jacksonville to be a much stronger team. Defensively, they're pretty much intact. They're going to play better than they played last year because they're still, I'm sure they all have chips on their shoulder from the outcome of last season. They've improved drastically at the quarterback position. Even if Nick Foles is a mediocre starter,
Yeah.
they're going to be a better team. But at the same time, Kansas City has got the whole package going for it right now. It's improved its defense, and I expect that they'll come out of the gate strong.
Yep. Well, Kansas City's quarterback Pat Mahomes is taking my league literally one pick before I picked.
Oh, bummer.
I was gonna take him. I mean, I try not to be a homer in my fantasy football leagues, but I was like, ooh, Patrick Mahomes is gonna be available, great. And then he was taken. I'm like, well, crap. Well, DeAndre Hopkins is available. I'll take him. All right, so who do we got next? Because I'm taking Kansas City as well. I mean, don't get me wrong, Jacksonville will be good. ESPN has them going 8-8. I could see them going 9-7, and even 10-6. But in that division, I still think the team to beat in that division is going to be the Texans.
Oh, interesting.
So who do we got up next? I'm just going off of the NFL.com banner here.
Yeah, go ahead because we're out of sequence on my list. So just keep.
Yeah, I got Baltimore at Miami.
Having just said that I think Baltimore's going to go 6-10, I did pick them over the Dolphins, and that will be one of their 6 wins. I just shake my head when I look at the Dolphins. I have no idea what's going on down there. I wish I could get a little bit of inside information on what was up with the whole Tunsil trade. Why would you trade him? I don't understand, and I don't know what the backstory is of why suddenly he became available. Now, that was a great trade for them, I thought. Yeah. They got 2 number 1s and a number 2, plus, a couple other players or something. And, it was a great trade, but trading your starting left tackle for draft picks.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know. But anyway, they did it. Rookie head coach again, and looking at the quarterback situation, it makes no sense to me to start Ryan Fitzpatrick.
No. When they announced that,
Rosen's not going to get any better sitting on the bench.
No.
And so, no, I think this is one of Baltimore's wins.
Yeah, I agree with you. Before they announced who is going to be the quarterback, I was thinking Rosen, and Tunsil was still there. So I'm like, he's got a solid left tackle that can protect him fairly decently. He'll have some growing pains, but at least they have a chance to win games. Not saying that Ryan Fitzpatrick can't win you games, but I was gonna pick Miami in this, but I have Baltimore as well.
And Fitzpatrick, if he becomes Fitzmagic, they could win this game. But I just don't see them being able to do that.
All right. And let's see here. We have Atlanta at Minnesota.
There's another coin flip for me. um,
I'm going with the
who
home
did I
team
pick?
on this one.
Okay, I took the Falcons. Um, the the Vikings are kind of an iffy team in my mind. They performed so poorly last year, and maybe that'll be an advantage coming into this season, and that they will perform better. Kirk Cousins, the self-proclaimed 500 quarterback, he needs to perform better.
Yes, he does.
They're going to be in a situation with him next season because he'll be in the last year of his 3-year, 100% guaranteed deal, and need to figure out what they're going to do. So this year is really significant for Kirk Cousins, and he has to play well, and he has to, make that he has to take that decision away from them by playing so well. And they've got that going for them. I think their running back is healthy now. So there's a lot of things going there. But I'll be perfectly honest. I have fallen into the Pat Kerwin Atlanta pick, and he has totally influenced me as far as the Falcons go, at least for the first couple of weeks. Julio Jones is close to signing that new deal, so he's happy. Yeah. Matt Ryan always is, a danger. And
he's a consummate professional too at the game.
Yeah, and so he's I know it's a road game for them, but they are playing inside, so they'll be comfortable there. So I have picked the Falcons. So there's a difference, another difference of opinion for us.
All right. Next up is Buffalo at New York Jets.
That coin is flying this week, isn't it?
It is.
I picked the Bills. Even though it's in New York. I have no idea about the Jets. They should be a lot better. Darnold should be, he's in year 2 and should be improving. He was solid last year. Same thing for Josh Allen in Buffalo. I just, for some reason, it came down heads, so I picked the Bills.
I would have picked the Bills if they had kept Shady McCoy around. They traded him off to Kansas City or let him walk off to Kansas City, so I'm going with the Jets. For me, when in doubt, home team, because
that's just, I don't know what I probably should have considered that, but like I said, I don't know about the Jets.
Yeah, I don't blame you for going with the Bills. I mean, this is truly, this and the Cleveland Tennessee game, I think, are the two biggest. Throw a dart at the board, or
Yeah, because both teams were so sketchy last year that you don't know which direction they're going to go. And the Jets should have been better than they were last year, I thought.
Oh yeah.
And I think they should be better this year. But until they do it, I'm not buying into it.
All right. Well, let's get over here. I've got to type in your pick here. And you had the Bills. Now we get into the East Coast evening, the West Coast afternoon games. Starting off with the Indianapolis Colts at the Los Angeles Chargers.
Let's see if we can guess who I'm picking in this game.
I'm just going to tentatively put you down for the Colts then.
No, that would not be correct. I am a total homer. I never pick against the Chargers. Simple as that. I hate winning a bet and losing a game. I hate losing a bet and winning a game. I never bet against them. So now that being said, I also have, as being as objective as I can, they're playing in LA, which, the Chargers don't need a home field advantage. They don't have a home field advantage. They haven't had a home field advantage in years. And consequently, they have come up with that ASAP, any site, any place.
Yeah.
I'm really cautiously optimistic about this Chargers team this year. I think Phillip Rivers is, possibly in the last year of his career, definitely in the last, year of this contract. he wants to do something significant, and this team has enough talent to get it done, particularly if it stays healthy. If Gordon comes back, that's only going to increase their possibilities for going deep into the playoffs. The perception is that Kansas City won this division last year, and in a dominating fashion. The truth is they both were 12-4, and Kansas City won in a tiebreaker. That was like the third or fourth tiebreaker down the list.
Yeah.
And so consequently, I just think that the Chargers are the stronger team. They also need to win their damn opener. They haven't won one in 5 years. And as I said, when it looked like Andrew Luck wasn't going to play, all right, that's good for us. Now that he's gone, this Colt team's coming in. Brissett's had a great offseason. He's played a lot in the offseason because Luck hasn't. So it's not like there's a big ripple of, oh, this team's going to be so, unsteady now because they got a new quarterback. He's been playing, through the whole preseason. They've got a good defense. They've got that great linebacker. But I just think the Chargers are going to be a machine this year, and they're going to be a hard team to play.
Oh, yeah. Having faced both you guys in Kansas City last year, I would argue that it was unfair for you both to be in the same division that year.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, it was a situation that the NFL was really grateful for because it made your guys' games so competitive. You were the playoff drive. I mean, everybody knew you both were going to the playoffs, but who was going to win the coveted, division?
And for the Chargers, it came down to Phillip Rivers grounding a pass in the last minute of the Denver game.
Yep.
If he takes the sack instead, the clock runs out. We beat Denver, and we're the number 1 overall seed.
Yep.
And boom, there you go.
All right. Well, I obviously am going to pick the Chargers too because, unfortunately, until I see what the Colts can do without Luck. I mean, granted, we've had 2 seasons of that, but
and they performed very poorly in those seasons.
Exactly.
Brissett's like 4-12 as a starter, 4-9, something like that. So,
and I know that they're trying to build the team around him to be better, to complement him, which I haven't found anything to complement yet. But in all jokes aside, I don't see Jacoby Brissett being able to lead this team. Now, I don't think that they're going to try and do tank my season and try to get the number 1 pick overall. Because if they do that,
God, no.
If they do that, they're going to lose more season ticket holders than they lost from Andrew Luck.
Yeah, no, I don't see that either.
Yeah. But
I think they still feel that they can be competitive and will be competitive.
Well, in that division, I honestly think they can. That's the sad state of the AFC South, and I'll get into that later. But in all honesty, they could be competitive enough to even challenge the Texans. I mean, I don't think the Texans are a solid lock at, like 10-6, and everybody else is going to be 8-8.
I've been really disappointed the way the Texans have played in the preseason and with their first teamers.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson has not had a great preseason. Their running game was all over. The first thing that happens is Lamar Miller blows out his ACL on his one play in the preseason.
Yep.
That's as snake bit as you can get. And with the addition, subtraction of all these players, suddenly I don't see the Texans coming out strong at all, and I don't know that they are as big a threat as people think they are.
Oh yeah, no, I totally get.
So.
And moving on to the next game, Cincinnati at Seattle.
So why don't you go first?
Well, let's see. We all know who I'm going to pick. It's going to be the one that I'm wearing the jersey for. So let's go with that. Seahawks. Cincinnati, again, like you said about the Packers and Miami, rookie head coach. The team isn't as cohesive as it should be. I mean, I think they're better than they were last year. I will give them that. And I don't think this is going to be a walk over a team. You know what I mean? This isn't like Cleveland coming into town, 4 years ago,
right,
where I could have literally just not gone to the game. Glad I did go to that game because it was actually nail biting there. But it's not the same it's not the same feel as you would have for a Cleveland team that just sucks.
Right.
Um, I don't
Well,
think
you know,
it's going to be as close as
I'm sorry.
ESPN. I was going to say I don't think it's going to be as close as ESPN said it was, 24-23 with Cincy winning. I think it's going to be a 10-point game.
Well, you talk about the power rankings, and it's interesting. The bottom five includes, Miami, Arizona, and Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Which I was kind of surprised about. But you look at all of the changes on defense have been significant. The rookie head coach, I'm not sure what they're doing offensively. AJ Green is supposed to play,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly, and that'll be a help for them. But going into Seattle, and this is kind of a weird opening game for Cincinnati to travel across the country, go to Seattle, have to play in that stadium with that home field advantage that Seattle has. And this was one of those games that, when I did my parlay, I forget what the point spread is on this. But I thought, what was I thinking? Why didn't I pick Seattle? Because their chances of winning in Seattle over Cincinnati are significantly great. So, and I didn't. So I may end up kicking myself because of that. But I'm taking the Seahawks as well.
Yeah. According to footballlocks.com, the spread is -9.5 favorite Seattle.
That might be why I didn't pick them. That may very well be. As I'm thinking about it now, I was looking at the board, and there was a couple of teams that really had big point spreads, and that was one of them.
Yeah,
so that would have been why.
Yeah, they have Philly at Washington -10. They have the Chargers at Indianapolis at -6.5. So they have.
So they're getting there's a little bit more confidence in Jacoby Brissett than there was 3 days ago.
Yeah.
So
next up is Detroit at Arizona.
If Detroit doesn't win this game, they're
0-16.
They are done, dead in the water. They go to Arizona. They've got the rookie head coach, the rookie starting quarterback, a defense in disarray, a new system coming out of nowhere, which could be that wild card of we've never seen this before, and they run and shoot or do whatever they do. We'll see. Again, there's no way I could ever pick Arizona, probably for the season, unless they go on like a 6 or 7 game win streak.
And the one game you pick them to win, they're going to lose.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way it always works. And this style of quarterback hasn't worked in the NFL. There has flashes of it. And one of the reasons I don't like Baltimore is because I have no faith in Lamar Jackson. He can't throw the ball.
Yeah.
And you can run around, and I really think the Chargers created the blueprint on how to beat him. And if they can't overcome that in Baltimore, they're going to be 6-10. In Arizona, it's a whole different story. And Kyler Murray has not had a great preseason. He came out, we played him the first preseason game, and he went 6 of 7 for 44 yards and a punt. And everyone was like, "Oh my God, 6 for 7, that's amazing." No, it's not. He threw for 44 yards with those 6 completions.
Oh, I was going to say if he went 6 and 7 for 70 yards and a touchdown, I could see the hype. Yeah.
And they came out the next week, and I think it was against the Raiders, and they blitzed him like crazy, and he had a horrible game. So and he's going to run around, and when he is looking at these real players with intent in their eyes, coming at him, it's going to be a different story. And he's going to be scrambling. He's going to get hit. He's going to be rattled. And he's a rookie quarterback starting his first game with a rookie head coach. And so I think Detroit has no choice but to win this game. And I'd like Detroit, actually. We play in week 2, which is the game I'm going to go to. I won't like them so much then. But I do think that they've got, the makings of a decent team. So I'm taking the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, you and I are lining up on that one too, because it is one of those games where as much as I see Arizona, and I know they can win just about any given season. There's just too many. There's too many odds stacked against them for Week 1 for me to confidently pick them. It would be one thing if all through the preseason Kyler Murray was rock steady, consistent. Yeah, you're not gonna score touchdowns every time. You'll have your punts. I get that, but if he were more consistent throughout the preseason, I probably would take them because that means he understands the grasp of the system, and now it's on the receivers. Not to say anything bad about against the receivers. I mean, Larry Fitzgerald's going to be first ballot Hall of Famer, and if he's not,
Yeah,
there's something wrong
and
with those
Andy
broadcasters.
Isabella is looking great. So they got some young guys, and they'll develop together as they go through the season and through their careers. But for game one, I don't know. Arizona does have a really fun marketing slogan, though. It's see the Cardinals, eat, drink, and see Murray.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
kudos to them.
Next up on the list is New York Giants at Dallas Cowboys. I'm going with Dallas, not because Ezekiel's back. I just think that the Dallas team as a whole is better than the Giants team as a whole.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
It's um, don't get me wrong. Eli has had a great career, but he is definitely on the tail end slide. Much in the way Philip Rivers is, much in the way Ben Roethlisberger is. All from the same draft class and all. But if the Giants can pull things together and actually win the division this year, which I don't think is out of the realm of possibility, it is going to be one of those sunset stories. You know what would be a great Super Bowl? Giants versus the Chargers.
Oh, I would love that. Please make that happen.
I wish I could. I don't have enough money to bribe the refs for that one.
I'm seeing a Kurt Warner, Eli Manning scenario in New York this year.
Uh-huh.
I'm giving them over under of 8 games before Daniel Jones is in there.
I've got 6.
Eli makes it a habit of going into Dallas and upsetting the apple cart.
He does, and I did consider that.
But I think with just the fact that Zeke is back and there's a level of enthusiasm and excitement, I think that is infused into that team just because of that. I'm going with the Cowboys as well.
Yeah, I'm going to pen in your next games. Not pencil in it. I'm penning this one in. I think with San Francisco going to Tampa Bay, you're going to pick the 49ers in that one.
Who did I pick? I picked the Buccaneers because they were the home team.
Wow. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to disagree with you on this one. The 49ers are going to be a better team than the Buccaneers. And it's a Sunday afternoon for the West Coast. This is not like it's going to be too much of a jet lag issue for them. So,
okay. They could do that. I have no faith in Jameis Winston. I have no faith in Jimmy Garoppolo. I have no faith.
I have more faith in Jimmy Garoppolo than the
Bruce Arians is the strongest factor for me in this making this pick because I think he's the better coach out of the two.
Yeah.
And they're at home, so 2 out of 3 for my. You're
counting on the hurricane effect, aren't you?
Yeah, well, they're not going to be affected by the hurricane.
Oh, they'll have a lot of rain. Have you seen the area of that?
I think
hurricane?
they're close to Alabama. I think they are close to Alabama, though, so maybe they will be.
No, I've actually seen some of the aerials. The cloud cover for this would easily cover all of Florida. Now, the major parts of the hurricane definitely are not going to hit Tampa Bay. I get that.
Right.
But there'll be heavy rains. That would be a fun game to watch, actually.
And it's still 4 days away, so
Yep.
We don't know where it's going to go.
So we're at the end of the Sunday afternoon games, going into the Sunday night game: Pittsburgh versus New England.
Dun dun dun.
And Pats are at home, so.
Which one did I pick? The Patriots always start out kind of slow.
Yeah.
They if they're going to lose a game or two, it's going to be in the first 4 games. And then, of course, everybody starts screaming, Brady's done.
Yep.
Oh, my God, what are we going to do? And then they go on a 10 or 12 game winning streak.
And win the division.
I don't think that Brady is done. I keep waiting for him to get old. He just gets better. And they're playing in New England. And because of all of those reasons, I've picked the Steelers. Because it's just a feel thing. This is a game the Steelers can win. You haven't heard a word from the Steelers all preseason. There hasn't been a single story or controversy or anything coming out of there. I think these guys have focused themselves in a way that they haven't been focused in a long time. And the best way for them to prove that this is a new Steeler team and that they're here for real and focused on playing football is going into Foxborough and winning that game. And you know that this team, from the day the schedule came out, has been looking at this opening game. And I think it's way more important to the Steelers to win this opening game than it is to the Patriots. And we know how important it is for the Patriots to win. So that's why I picked the Steelers.
Oh, so just so you're aware, I don't know if you saw my my draft video that I actually posted on the channel here, but during the last 2 rounds of the fantasy football draft we did, Yahoo still has Ryan Shazier as a valid option to pick for your team. Now, granted, it says NA, like he's not eligible to play or not, available to play, but the computer will pick him because he's still rated so high from when he was playing.
Mm-hmm.
And the person who picked him,
his rehab is coming along really well.
Great, yeah. I mean, I hope he can get back. I don't think he will, but I really
don't think so either. But I saw a video of him doing the thing where you're on the floor and you jump up on top of a 3-foot box.
Yeah.
And he was doing that, unassisted, and that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Well, I
can't do it.
He was. It was before their last preseason game. He was down on the field just playing catch with everybody. I mean, he's doing it one-handed.
Yeah.
But he's catching the ball, throwing the ball. I mean, this is great. I mean,
so who are you picking in this game?
I'm picking the Patriots at home. I don't discount. I don't discount what you're saying about New England because that it is true. They have lost games at home during the regular season in the first 4 games. It's not unheard of, and Pittsburgh is one of their biggest rivals. And with Pittsburgh being under the radar so much not just this preseason, this whole off season, they have been very quiet. I'm almost afraid of Pittsburgh. I'm almost afraid of the NFC North. So, wait, isn't that who we play? God damn it.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, it is. And I'm like, because I'm sitting here like,
we play Pittsburgh. We play Pittsburgh late in the year. They come to LA, so we'll have to wait and see what it looks like when they get there. But
I think we play Pittsburgh mid-season in Pittsburgh, if I remember correctly. I'll have to look it up, but yeah, I'm not looking forward to that one. All right, so we're into the first Monday night game then. Houston at New Orleans.
I am a New Orleans guy all day long. Drew Brees. He hang on. Oh, jeez.
Don't hurt yourself, man.
Drew Brees. I think that the Saints are a lot like the Chargers to me. They have a lot of depth. They have significant players at every important position. Drew Brees is coming up on the end again, and he wants one more Super Bowl, and he does. He holds every record that you can have as quarterback, and I just don't see Texas having enough to compete with the Steelers, particularly offensively.
Yeah.
And with the turnover, as I was just saying, with the turnover and the changes that the Texans have made in the last week, I can't see them going into New Orleans and winning a game.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson is nowhere near the quarterback that Drew Brees is. I love Bill O'Brien a lot, but I think Sean Payton holds the holds the edge there.
Yeah.
Um, and they're in New Orleans. So that's 3 for 3 for
Yeah.
me as far as my criteria go. And so I'm a big Drew Brees New Orleans Saints fan.
Yeah, I'm going for the Aints as well this year, or at least in this game, because, like you said, when Houston gave up Jadeveon Clowney to Seattle for basically a bag of balls at this point. Not that our players that we trade away aren't good or aren't capable of becoming good players, but when you compare the talent for talent of the trade, it was a steal. Um, and then while they improved their own offensive line with Tunsil coming, he's got to learn the calls and everything. You know, I don't.
Yeah, he's
There's
got a week.
there's going to be and I'm not saying it's all going to be on him, but that offensive line is going to have so many false starts, so many holding penalties that in this game, and New Orleans doesn't even have the most dominant defense.
No, but they've got a strong. I mean,
Oh,
Cam Jordan coming off
oh
the
yeah, no,
edge
I
is
mean
something
don't get me.
to be concerned about.
Yeah, especially if
So
he's coming off of the defensive right, the offensive left side.
um,
Tunsil's going to
yeah,
have his work cut
so
out, but
I just don't think that the Texans have enough
no,
firepower to
no,
go into New Orleans and win.
no. So last game, Denver at Oakland, Monday night, 7 p.m. Pacific time.
This is another coin flip for me. Actually, it's not. Um, I just think the Raiders are in total disarray. Um, I thought um, Hard Knocks was a joke and just such a homogenized, you know, fluff piece compared to what's really going on there. If I hear John Bruden say "knock on wood" one more time, um, might be knocking on my head. And Denver again. Denver's defense is very good. I'm not so sure that Flacco is really going to be the answer for them, but and nor am I confident that he's an upgrade. To be perfectly honest, but he is a competent quarterback, and so that will help them. I'm interested here to see what happens with Antonio Brown, because again, his feet are still an issue, and I'm wondering if they even activate him for this game.
Yeah.
Big news if they don't. A big deal if they don't. But if he can't run properly, then they just may very well sit him down. And I have to say, I have been impressed with Mike Mayock. I didn't think so at first. As a matter of fact, we were in Mobile last year, and I was talking with Jim about that because he had just gotten the position.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was such a reach, to pull Mike Mayock out of the draft room and make him a general manager just seemed such an incredible reach to me.
Yeah.
But I think he has done a good job. And yesterday, I mean, holding Antonio Brown responsible for missing those practices and fining him accordingly, and doing it quietly behind the scenes without making a big deal about it. And then Antonio Brown has to, shout it from the rooftops. I don't know what they're going to do with him. I think they sit up at night going, "What the hell were we thinking?"
Yeah.
He is such a disruptive force on that team, and we'll have to wait and see. But I'm picking the Broncos.
Yeah, I'm picking the Broncos too. Much like what you're saying, is Antonio Brown going to play? For his own personal health, I hope not. To be honest, Flacco, while he isn't the greatest quarterback out there, he's definitely a stable quarterback, and I think he's better than Derek Carr at this point. And to be honest, the defense of the Broncos is leaps and bounds better than the defense of the Raiders. So, I mean, I'm going with them. I it's just hard to think about the week by week picks projecting forward, because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know who's going to get hurt this week. You don't know who's going to get
And you
whatever.
don't know, teams come from nowhere. As you know, they always say half of the playoff teams won't make it to the playoffs this
Exactly.
year. So that means half of guys that didn't make the playoffs will be making the playoffs. Um, the power ranking thing. They did a segment on Sirius yesterday, I think it was, and in their top 10, half of them lost and didn't make the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
In the opening week power rankings. So you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I'm, as I said, cautiously optimistic about the Chargers, but they still got to come out and play, and they got to play well, and efficiently. And if they can do that, then they're going to be a team to be reckoned with. And if they can't, then they're back at 6-10. It's just so, just like what happened with the Vikings last year. And, you never know what's going to happen. You think, and then, which is why no one ever goes 16-0 on their picks, because the ball bounces funny and stuff happens.
Oh yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, I'm sitting here. You reminded me about the AP Pro 32 poll that they do with Pat and Jim and all those guys. Um, they have the preseason. I don't know if this was like before training camp or if it was done. This is the picks that they did yesterday and submitted. The AP Pro preseason picks: Patriots 1, Kansas City 2, New Orleans 3, Rams 4, Eagles 5, Chicago 6. That's a little surprising. Seattle 7, Steelers 8, Chargers 9, Dallas 10. That's the top 10. Well, actually, they have you and Dallas tied at 10, actually. Or 9, sorry. Have you tied at 9?
yeah.
I can't read numbers today, apparently. But it's just interesting to see how it is. They used to break it down by who had that, who made their picks where. Oh, here you go. Nope, that's just team news. It used to be on the AP Pro thing. You would see who the players are. Oh, and actually, here I'll show it to you. It does say that it was released yesterday. So this is the one. This is all the AP writers or the people who the AP picks to be football writers.
Right. And there's a lot of teams that people are, have really strong opposing opinions on. The Browns being one of them. You buy into the talent that they have, and that Freddie Kitchens is going to be able to pull it all together. And you're looking at a 10-6 team. If you're looking at a team that could just melt from the inside because of personalities like Beckham and some of the other issues that they have there, it could melt.
Oh yeah.
So that's going to be the fun part of this season, is seeing what these teams actually do, and how everybody moves forward. Patrick Mahomes, does he have another year like he had last year? That would be astounding. No one's ever done that.
Yeah, no. But they actually have Cleveland number 14 overall.
I'm sorry, say that again?
They have Cleveland at 14 in the power rankings.
Yeah, and and I think Pat had him at 9 and Jim had him at 19 or something.
Yeah.
So, or 26, I think he put him at, because he just doesn't believe him. He doesn't believe in it. So we'll see what happens when they get out there. I am a Baker Mayfield believer. I think he's the real deal, and he will just go out and the force of his will carry that team.
So here's what the NFL has picked so far. Packers will win 20-17. Field goal. Go figure, right?
Yeah.
Toughest game to predict: the Rams at Carolina.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't either.
By 1 point, the Rams.
Everyone has a higher opinion of Cam Newton than I do, though. So.
Yeah. Sneaky good game of the week: the Bills versus the Jets, with the Bills winning 20-17. I can see that. Yeah.
The thing about that kind of game, even in at the end of the season, when you get two teams that are 3-11 and 4-12 or 4-10, if they're evenly matched, you can get a really good game out of that.
Yeah, and that's
there's nothing at stake, but you can get a good game out of it.
Yeah, I mean, like even the Minnesota Atlanta game, they have it by a touchdown, and that would be a good game to watch too.
Yeah.
I see they agree with us about the Ravens and Dolphins, though. Kansas City versus Jacksonville. Yeah, I could see a 2 point game. They got Cleveland beating Tennessee. Oh, they have high hopes for Brissett.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think they're factoring with Melvin Gordon, James out, and Okun out. You guys won't be as good as you think. 23-22. I'm not. It's not out of the realm for a single point game, but I don't think it's going to be a single point game. Tampa
Yeah, I
Bay.
don't.
Yeah, Tampa Bay 49ers. Cowboys over the Giants. Oh, they agree with us. The Lions over Arizona. They agree with me with Pittsburgh. It's supposed to be a good game there too. They agree with us on the Saints, 36-30, and they agree with us on the Broncos and Raiders. So, do you want to pick division winners and all that stuff, or are you good just doing weekly picks?
I think just weekly for now.
Sounds good to me. Looks like they got the top 10 reasons to watch week one going here. Oh, it looks like they're saying Antonio Brown will be in the game.
Well, we'll see.
I mean, if he's
Like I said, it would be huge news if they don't play him. Um, but you know, if he doesn't shut up, they may just not play him. For conduct detrimental reasons.
yeah,
You know what? If you're not gonna be part of the team, like Mayock said, all in or all out. You're not going to be all in, then sit over there on the bench.
yeah. Jacoby Brissett steps up. I think they're factoring in that he's going to that now that it's quote unquote his team, you know, he'll do better. Is what I think they're trying to go with there.
Mr. Brissett, Mr. Bosa, Mr. Brissett, Mr. Ingram. Have you met? Oh, no, you haven't.
Oh,
Oh, well, let me introduce you.
let's get back to where we're. Brady faces off without Bell, Brown, or Gronk. That is a key factor we didn't go over really all that much. Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown out of not being there for Pittsburgh, and Gronkowski not being there for the Patriots.
Well,
I,
Bell wasn't there last year. James Conner stepped up, filled right in.
oh yeah,
Brown was a distraction to them then. And now being gone, Juju Smith-Schuster will step up and take that place. I'm not sure who's playing on the other side, but I don't see that as being a big deal at this point in time. And the Patriots have played without Gronk a lot.
yeah.
They won a Super Bowl without him. It's the same thing with the Chargers and Melvin Gordon. We played a lot of games without him. Yep. Played 4 games without him last year. We won all 4, including Pittsburgh. So, it's not the end of the world that he's not there. Yeah. We're a better team if he is, but it's not the end of the world.
Yep.
And I think you're going to see a lot out of Justin Jackson this year. Pat was asking who's going to be the new James Conner for this season, and my response is Justin Jackson.
Yeah. Oh, we have Cam Newton's shoulder test. He's going to be facing the last season's sack leader, Aaron Donald. Wish I could have got him on my team. We do individual defensive players, so. Kyler Murray's NFL debut. Yeah, that'll be an interesting watch for like the first series or two.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I have high hopes for him. Can the Seahawks win the West? The toughest thing is going to be the Rams. That's going to be the
Rams are the team to beat.
Exactly.
Rams and the Saints are the teams to beat in the NFC, in my opinion. And all things being fair, as they weren't last year.
We were in both games, and we should have won both. So I mean, that's the sad thing about the NFL is like any given Sunday is more than just a motto. It's a way of life. Pat Mahomes follows up his stellar season. I hope he doesn't follow up with a, 11 for 24 and 5 picks. I don't think he will, honestly. I mean,
Jacksonville was the only team last year that Mahomes did not throw a touchdown pass against
I know.
when they played. So the defense in Jacksonville is it should be as strong as it was 2 years ago. They just have to play up to that potential.
Yep. Then we have the Browns offense. Will the Browns offense live up to the hype? And I don't blame people for not believing in the hype, and because I'm trying not to. But against the Titans, I mean, it's
Well, they still have a lot of talent on that team,
yeah.
and
Who's to say that the defense
that
doesn't get
speaks,
two pick
that really
sixes?
speaks for itself.
I mean, seriously, how do you not have like a fumble recovery for a touchdown or a pick six from Cleveland? To edge out the Titans. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be the offense that wins the game for the Browns. But everybody seems to think that's how it's going to be. It's going to be the Browns offense carrying the defense, and I don't think it will be. Let's see, what's number 9 here? Come on. It's sad when I can almost tell what programs they're using by looking at Zeke's signs huge contract extension. That should be like number 11, to be honest.
Yeah, it really was a bit anticlimactic. Even with the numbers, it was anticlimactic.
Yeah. AB supposedly in the game. I like the top headline story over here is AB faces potential discipline after altercation with GM. And Lamar Jackson's first full season running the Ravens offense. That, I think, is kind of an understatement. Lamar is a solid quarterback. It's just can he throw the ball more than he runs the ball? You know what I mean?
And can he throw it accurately? He's had some success, obviously, but he's not an accurate passer. When you get him on the move, he can't hit anything, and he has to rely on his feet. And that type of quarterbacking has never proved to be successful in the NFL.
I mean, even when we won our Super Bowl, it was not Russell Wilson carrying the ball.
No,
Most of the
but
time it was.
Russell Wilson is a pocket passer.
Oh yeah,
He'll drop back and he'll exhaust his reads before he runs.
exactly.
And just because he has this ability to run and he's a very good open field runner, he doesn't rely on that. He relies on being able to pass the ball. And Lamar Jackson needs to do the same thing. He has to drop back. He has to rely on throwing, go through his reads, go through his progressions, throw the ball where it's supposed to be, when it's supposed to be. And that is not a strong suit for him. So that's my biggest complaint about it. And that's why I think they're 6-10, because he's just not going to be able to maintain that streak that he had last year, because people are prepared for it now. And I think it's so ironic that RG3 is his backup, because that's exactly who he reminds me of every time I see him play.
Yeah.
And I think Kyler Murray's the next one in line for that type of quarterback. And as I said, it's just never proved to be successful.
Yeah, and that's just it. People were comparing Cam and Russell to each other early on because they both knew how to pass in the pocket and they both knew when to run. The difference was Russell was smarter about when to dive forward or to slide. You think that's a fair assessment?
Yeah. And the size difference, Russell doesn't try to run through anybody.
Exactly. But at the same time, these two had success playing the game like that, where they were able to run when they knew they needed to run. These other quarterbacks are like, oh, I can run wherever I want to run. It's like, no, that's not what's actually doing. The teams that are facing these players, they know that they're a dual run and throw threat,
Right.
I mean, especially when we had Marshawn Lynch, I mean, Marshawn's going to blow you up or Russell's just going to outrun you. That was the two options you had defending the run. Either get blown up by Marshawn and get a big gain, or contain Marshawn and let Russell run around the outside. So, but I think this is going to be an interesting week 1. I
am. I'm so excited about tonight. We only got a couple hours left to go.
Yep.
And the Bears is the first pick on my parlay, so I might be out right from the get-go. So we'll see about that. And,
I hope
I'm
you don't
very
lose it.
excited about the whole rest of the week. A lot of good college games coming up as well on Saturday. I finally was able to figure out a way to get the Pac-12 network, so I've got my Pac-12 games coming up.
Who's your
And
team in the Pac-12?
I grew up in Scottsdale, and I'm an
Okay.
Arizona State
That's
guy.
what I
That's
thought.
how I
That's
ended
what I
it.
thought I heard you say was you were Arizona State. So
Um, that's how I became a Charger fan. I moved to San Diego to go to college, and a couple of years after I was there, the Chargers drafted John Jefferson out of Arizona State, who was my all-time favorite receiver. And boom, and there was Eric Coryell with
oh yeah,
Fouts and Winslow and Joyner and Jefferson and Chuck Muncie, and I've been through the 12-step program 3 times, and it's done jack for me. So I'm a Charger fan for life.
yep. Nope. That is perfectly fine. I mean that. What'd be fun to do this upcoming business season? Invite um, the football heads on and kind of give us their story of how they became one a football fan, but two
Oh yeah,
why they picked the team they picked. You know,
yep.
like me growing up, my family is all from Minnesota, but I rooted for Green Bay just before Brett Favre got there, and I had the Seahawks who were in the AFC because we moved out here in '83, '84 into Washington.
Yeah,
That
that's
was
when the
right when they
Don
switched.
that was
Oh,
the Don Mankowski years, right?
yeah,
The Dennis Sproul years.
yep. And then then in the early 2000s when the Seahawks went back to the NFC, I'm like, sorry Green Bay, you're going away. Maybe that'll get me back into some people's wills in the family.
Yeah.
But I think this was a great little live stream. Other than the fact for like the first 20 minutes, nobody heard me because I had my volume muted. My Stream Deck, it's basically a hotkey thing that I can push buttons, kind of like the control panel for a TV show.
Right.
Um, I had it muted. If it's a little softer, so it double taps
So we're
really
getting
easy.
comments like, Tom, would you let Jay speak? Would you just shut up and let Jay say something?
Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna hide this video for a while. I stream and record it at the same time.
Uh-huh.
So I have the audio on my mixer going, and we'll have that taken care of. No, unfortunately, it doesn't look like anybody ever came in to watch, or at least nobody interacted in the chat. Unfortunately, I would have loved to see the football heads actually interact with us on the chat. I think what we should do is go back to the usual, just record a video next week and post it. But I think sporadically we should do like just a quick live stream once or twice a month and just
Sure.
talk about the game itself. Um, I know some of these guys would love to get on here with us, and maybe if we could find a time where it's conducive for all of us, um, we might be able to swing it. You know.
Well, that's very not optimistic point of view, but okay.
Well, hey, I do a
For someone that tries to organize the mock draft every year, this is a herding cats situation
well,
with
hey,
these guys. So,
if I can be a part of a group of people that we can coordinate in 4 different time zones around the world to do a Star Trek
yeah.
podcast, I think I could coordinate, like 1 or 2 other people to come in and join us.
All right.
All right.
I'm there for you. Okay, we all set? I got to get going, actually.
Yep. You have a good one.
All
Everybody
righty,
take
take
care.
care.
Bye. And we're